Welcome back, everybody, to the Zoom Racing League Sunday night action. After a week break from Easter, we return in Austin, Texas, where they do everything big, and so will we during our round 3 of Season 7 in Division 1. We've got a short qualifying here for you guys, followed by a 10-lap sprint race, a qualifying sprint race, followed by our 28-lap full race. We've got 20 corners here at the Circuit of the Americas, and yes, my fellow Americans, some of them turn right. Plenty of passing opportunities with 2 DRS zones, one in the main straight and one in the back straight, with opportunities of going over 200 miles an hour. It's John Ranger here, followed with me in the booth tonight with Nathan Doan. Nathan, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing very good. You know, it's Coda. It's, I don't know, my favorite track in the entire calendar. And I'm just excited to see what everyone here can do because, you know, this is a track where, you know, it takes a lot of your technical ability to just get around the track. We got the very fast and tricky first sector. You know, if you get in the power a bit too early, you could go all the way around. And then you got the third sector where it's kind of tight, and then it opens up into a big right-hander, and just lots of variation in the corners here today. I'm excited to get your take on how do you think the drivers will fare across this circuit.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at the circuit, honestly for me, I reserved last night in Division 2. Didn't go as expected. You know, I had to shake off a little bit of the rust. And I did that fairly quickly by ramming my car into a wall, right? And I'll tell you, Coda is not necessarily my favorite circuit. A lot of appreciation for the circuit and how technical it is. With the passing opportunities, not personally my favorite. It is very popular in ZRL, and I think a lot of our drivers put a lot of time practicing it and perfecting their times. And in Division 2, we had a couple drivers putting in Division 1 lap times for qualifying. So I'm really curious to see who's going to come out on top here. And with our latest races going on, I think, you know, likes of Hudson Poole wants to, who took the win 2 weeks ago, I would say, maybe he wants to continue on that. We know Cody Lawrence wants to have a good qualifying as well. I'm thinking some drivers, maybe like Alfa Romeo, Marc-Olivier Bastien, he's ready to have a really good race tonight. I don't know, I just gotta have a little bit of a hunch for him right now. Nathan, how about we take a little bit of a moment while some of our drivers go out for their warm-up laps here. How about we look into the, the Drivers' Championship to begin with.
Yeah, so we got Cody Lawrence in the lead by 2 points to our last season's winner, Hudson Poole. He's at 55 points, and then we have Quentin K 10 points behind Hudson Poole, but I think he can make up for that tonight. Quentin K third place, 45 points behind him. Marc-Olivier Bastien 1 point behind him in fourth, and then Cam Bourne, a driver who we didn't expect to be up this high, but he did get a surprise podium last time out in Singapore, so he's fifth. After that, we got the Haas of Eric Cavallio, then the Alfa Romeo of Philemon Goulet, Luke Leclerc in Ferrari, then we have, I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce this correctly, but I think it's Jakub Karczewicz.
Yeah, very much better. Good job, Nathan.
Thank you. And then we have Ryan Newman in the Williams. You know, very fast qualifying driver, sometimes gets himself into trouble in the race, though, Ryan Newman. Then we have the Ferrari team principal of Peter Giordano, Aaron Allmeyer, the other team principal of Aston Martin. He's in 12th. Then Marcel Green after a DNF and 16 points from Singapore. He's 13th. After that, we have the other Mercedes of Hector Ochoa. He'll be looking to get points and get closer to his teammate in the driver's standings. Then we have Marcel Paps, bit of a weird season for him so far. He's had results that he can definitely do better than, but he'll just be looking to, you know, get a good result tonight. After that, we have Kyle Blevins, a very quick driver, also having a few unlucky incidents. Maxime Bolio in the Aston Martin right behind him. Then Magnussen Cube, the other AlphaTauri, did not start the first race of the season, but did start the second one and got 5 points from that. Then we have Mitchell Castleman and Logan Dukes both not finishing either of the races they started, and Logan Dukes didn't even start 2 of the races. So after that, we have our constructor standings. It's very, very tight up here. We have Red Bull at 77 points. He's in their first right now. Alfa Romeo 1 point behind, though. I think we'll have a great battle between the two as the season goes on. Maybe even include Mercedes in the third right now with 72 points, not out of the hunt. Then we have Williams doing very good right now outside of, you know, what they've been doing in the other divisions. I'd say they're doing pretty good this season in Division 1. After that, Haas, Alpine, Ferrari, Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, and McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're looking at some of the the lower tier teams, you know, but last season Aston Martin was having a much better season to begin with. Same as Ferrari, right? So I'm looking for those two teams to maybe get a little bit more points. But, you know, Haas and Williams are really having a strong beginning to their season. There's a bit of a gap between Williams and Haas, but you could tell there's two groups being split apart. And then AlphaTauri and McLaren. Well, McLaren, you know, they're having Logan Dukes for the first time this season. Racing, hopefully you'll be able to put in some points for the team. And we spoke about Marcel Paps as well, who is going to have to do a little bit better, and he is doing a little bit better. He's known to have some good qualifying pace, and currently we're already looking at the 132s. Marcel Paps and Cody Lawrence have pretty similar times there. Marcel Paps with 132.616. That puts him provisional pole for now. We'll see when the other drivers will go out for their faster laps.
Yeah, I think we might have someone coming on here. A student into the broadcasting booth. He hasn't given me any word of it. We might be getting a surprise appearance from Mr. Fitz Toast, AlphaTauri team principal. So we'll wait on that for now. But right now we have a bunch of laps getting put in, down to 16th place at the moment. So we got 4 people on a lap, and someone very interesting right now who's on a lap. Hudson Poole, our championship winner from last season. He's looking to hopefully get the championship lead back in his hands this race. You know, 2 points clear, or 2 points behind of Cody Lawrence. I think that he's definitely in good contention to get the lead as he's slowing down. Actually, I believe he is out of fuel.
He's out of fuel, so he did not make a lap. So I think he ran out of, he invalidated his lap there. So he was out of fuel and was just getting a feel for it. Taps a little bit the wall, ran out a little drift into that very tight corner, right, to go into the pit lane. And so here he goes. You spoke about having team principal Fitz Toast in the broadcast booth, and throughout the season, the idea is that every race we're going to have a team principal with us as much as possible. If the team principal is unable to race, obviously the likes of Peter Giordano, Arnold Meyer cannot be joining us in the booth while they're racing. They'll give us appoint us an engineer that will come in for an interview. Something that we did a couple seasons back in ZRL, and that I felt was necessary to bring back to have a little bit more of an idea on the strategies and the talks on team principals and what's going on with their teams and their view on things. So, Nathan Dolan, at the same time, I'm letting you know when Fitz is available for us in the waiting room chat, we'll be able to drag him into the booth. So keep an eye on there. I think he'll be able to join us momentarily, and we'll have a little chat with him and see AlphaTauri, how he thinks the beginning of the season is going, how he views the performance of Cal Blevins and Magnussen Cube, and how he thinks his team will be faring tonight in Circuit of Americas, which is, I mean, needless to say, in this kind of circuit, especially with turn 1 earlier in the race, we might see some incidents, some contact, and probably a safety car as well. So we'll see where this can bring us till the end of the race as well.
Yeah, so luckily for us, that time is right now. So we're going to welcome in fan favorite. We are going to welcome in AlphaTauri team principal. We are going to welcome in Mr. Fitz Toast. How's it going tonight?
It's good. It's good. I'm excited. Love Coda, and we've got 2 good races so far, so I'm excited to see what happens tonight.
Absolutely, Fitz. Do not move. I'm just going to raise your volume a little bit so all our fans can hear you properly. Here you go, sir. Thank you for your patience, fans. Fitz, you've got qualifying going already. We're already seeing Cal Blevins under the 133s. He's currently P4. We know it's early in the qualifying. How confident are you about your drivers, not only in qualifying, but now they also have the sprint qualifying coming up next? How are you think they're going to fare for this weekend?
Well, Cal's been putting in a lot of time here this week, and this is one of his better circuits for sure. He's been running up those 32 times with the best of them. I know a couple of the other guys are putting in just as much time over the last 2 weeks as he has, but he's really strong here, and he's got a good race pace. Had a rough couple first weeks, but as everybody knows, Cal is fast with his 3 podiums he got last season. Magnussen, you know, he's having a little bit of a rough go, but when he nails his lap, he's going to be top 10 for sure. He's just got to put it all together.
Right, so obviously, like you said, we had a bit of a tough season so far for the 2 AlphaTauris, but I'm more focused on Mr. Magnussen Cube tonight because I know him personally, and he has honestly some pretty good technical insight. He's been really good at just providing info to the teams. Has he still been doing that as Cal spins around on his out lap?
Yeah, yeah, of course. He's been putting in a lot of input. He's been helping a lot. He's been a chatty Cathy in our server, that's for sure. But he's always trying to help out. He's always trying to do better, and he's really been pushing himself to try to get up into that top 10 here in D1 since this is his first season there. But it's been a good season so far in the fact that we're all helping each other. We're all working better. Rough race last week in Singapore for sure, but it always is. And I really think that Magnussen's going to put some big, strong races together real soon.
Fitz, as the season is still very early, but there was an announcement that was done, I believe after the first or the second race, by the Duncan McCamick, where team principals can now start discussing about trading drivers. So, do you have any insight? Is there any rumors going on, or some team principals thinking of making trades? Have you thought about it, about the strategic move you could make across all your divisions?
Yeah, I mean, there's always talk about it, and like it's the stuff we've talked about other seasons before. Now Duncan and the rest of the ZRLTP's been talking a little bit here and there. There's been some joke ones and some serious ones. Myself, we've been contacted here and there by one or two about possibles. I don't know how much things are actually taking traction, but it's definitely an opportunity that we're going to look into.
And is this a kind of situation where sometimes you think a move might make sense, but you kind of put it in between a rock and a hard place where you don't want to make the move too early on the season in case one of the drivers you might trade suddenly, gets on his groove and gets way better pace? Or do you think we might see early trades this season for teams that want to shake things up early in the season?
Well, I understand why, some teams are doing it. A lot of people haven't talked to each other. A lot of people are new, so sometimes it's hard to get a good feel on everybody. But you do want to see the best out of everybody you have, and you put a lot of hope into it. It's a lot more emotional than people think it is. I mean, you drafted these people and you want to build them up as much as you can, but sometimes you put the result ahead of that. Sometimes you put the emotions ahead, and it's just trying to balance out which one actually matters the most. And in the end, AT needs to move up. We've been sitting in 7th place for the last 3 seasons. So, I mean, if there is an opportunity to make a positive outlook on our race results in the divisions, you might have to look into it. Can't close the door on anything.
Absolutely, Fitz. Just a little quick break, and I'll let you go win with the next question, Nathan. Just to let you guys inform, we're looking quite live right now with Magnussen Cube, and Marcel Green in the Haas seems to have had a major moment and has DNF'd. He crashed his car right into the wall, and he's out of the qualifying and will begin the race, most probably P20 if everybody puts in the time. And Magnussen Cube comes across the line and just hits barely top 10. He's P11, just about 400s off of Eric Cavallo, which is also a really quick driver. So there's already an improvement in time for Magnussen Cube, and let's see if he can continue doing so. On to you, Nathan.
Yeah, so one final question for you, Fitz. So will we be expecting any wet rain or wet weather tonight?
I don't think so tonight. I think we're looking pretty good tonight. Last night, I filled in D2, and that was just a slog through that thing, but we had an awesome result. Batoda had some incredible racing with the Mercedes guys up front, and he pulled out a great race. And I wouldn't mind some wet. I don't think Cal would either. Magnussen, not so sure about, but I'm glad to see a dry race because I think Coda has some of the best racing for this game, and I think that we're going to see some awesome stuff come out today. We're definitely going to see some elbows out, people flying around all over Sector 3 and 1, and I'm really excited to see a dry race for D1.
Fitz, thank you so much for your time. We're going to go back into qualifying as most of the racers, I think they're going to be going on to their final laps here as qualifying is a little under 4 minutes to go. We'll let you go back to your team. I don't know if you're engineering tonight or just watching them. We might poke you across the end of across the race to see if there's any updates or to give us info if anything happens with your drivers.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for your time. That is quite some interesting insight, don't you think, Nathan? From team principal and from race strategies to driver expectations and trades as well. A lot of information we got from Fitztos was very, very generous, and I'd say quite straightforward and honest with his comments as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more focused about that trade part though, because you know, if he's saying that, you know, there's actually people talking about making trades, I'm just wondering, like, how spicy will this season get? Say, I don't think it will happen, but say we got a surprise move from maybe Hudson Pool to Mercedes or something like that. Maybe even drivers reaching out to other teams to see if they want to trade themselves. But at the same time, it's, you know, it just can get very, very hot-headed if someone, you know, transfers to the rival. It's like going from Barcelona to Real Madrid. It's just you're not gonna get too much fans from it.
Let's begin with some clear information. I could tell you right away we won't be seeing a trade between Red Bull and Mercedes. Let's not expect that. Let's put that out of the way right away. I do not expect that to happen. Hey, I've been wrong before once or twice in my life, hey? But I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's quite a rivalry between the two teams. But it's interesting that Fitz talked to us about, you know, some more serious calls. And he said calls, not one trade. So there has been names being thrown around. And do the drivers pay attention to those kind of rumors, right? That could be something that puts pressure on them, and that may affect or not affect them on the racetrack as well. And, you know, thinking about Magnussen Cube, where maybe we'd expect a little bit more performance out of him as a second driver. Well, maybe that's something that'll either whip him back in shape or crumble him. Coda would be a great race to see how he'll fare this weekend.
I mean, absolutely. You know, drivers, I think they have a right to be worried about that because obviously it kind of determines how you'll be racing for the rest of the season. You know, if you're in an entirely different team where the environment is quite different to what you're normally used to, it's gonna hurt you in performance-wise. But I don't know, you went to Magnussen Cube, and I think maybe the performances haven't been good on track, but what Magnussen Cube can offer off track is just absolutely crucial to a team environment.
That's super important, right? These kind of guys that could really keep a nice team environment, like Magnussen Cube, with some insight, with there be engineering or strategy-wise. You know, it's definitely worth its pot of gold in any team. Nathan, back to racing as we're in the final moments of our qualifying here. We're going to go driver's side with Peter Giordano, currently sitting P17. Actually, the last driver to set a time with a 1:33.6, we got Hudson Pool, Marcel Green, who's DNF'd earlier, and Logan Dukes, who have not set a time yet. If you want to take us through the second part of the track here with Peter Giordano and see how he's going, and if he can actually improve his time.
Yeah, so down the big back straight, he might be able to hit 200 miles an hour here, but I don't think he will by the time he gets to this braking zone. Braking very hard, see if he can cut the curb on the inside at all. He does quite a bit, you know, you normally want to cut it a bit more, but that's fine. Going through sector 2, he's 2/10 up on his original time. Then through the right-hander, very easy to lose traction right in here, but he keeps a wide line so he can get on the throttle just a bit earlier. Then into this left-hander, you know, quite easy, but you might lose traction. And then through this big right-hander, 15, 16, and 17. Very easy to lose it here on old tires or hard tires during the race. Into this very fast left-hander, easy to invalidate, but he doesn't. He stays right on the track limits. Then into the final corner of this circuit, he goes to the line now. What will the time be? It will be a 1:33.302, 15th and 3/10 up on his original time.
And another Ferrari driver coming up to the final line is going to be Luke Locklear here. He's sitting P5 currently with 1:32.6. He's going to be looking to improve here. Will he be able to do so? He does, and that puts him in provisional pole with a 1:32.5, just a little bit ahead of Quentin K. Next driver across the line is Kyle Blevins with for P7. Marc-Olivier Basset does the same time as Luke Locklear. We got a tie up front for pole, but because Luke Locklear does it before him, he gets actually P2 as Quentin K improves his time at a 1:32.3. Cody Lawrence splits the Williams and the Ferrari apart, takes P2 as well. We have another Alfa Romeo going across. That is Philemon Goulet in P8. Who is next across? It is an Alfa Romeo of Camborne, I believe. That's P13. Logan Dukes got a time, goes P18, and we got another Mercedes, Hector Ochoa with P17, Maxime Bollier P18. And who is left to go across? I think it's Eric Cavallo, who he's going into the pits. And our last driver to go across the line, also in the pits, it is Magnussen Cube. And that is it for qualifying. Quentin K is our sprint leader to begin the race, followed by Cody Lawrence, Luke Locklear, Marc-Olivier Bastien. A great lap time as well for Marcel Paps and the McLaren. Ryan Newton, as you mentioned, great qualifier. Eric Cavallo, Philemon Goulet in P8, Aaron Altmaier, Cal Blevins, and Hudson Poole. Hudson Poole's in P11, Nathan. That is, as is his partner, Jakub Karsovic in P15, so not something we're used to seeing here. Magnussen Cube P12, Major Castleman P13, with his teammate right behind him in P14. Peter Giordano, we're used to seeing faster times in P16. And I'll remember the rest of the racers a little bit further. I forget who was P17. Maxime Beaulieu, as we see it now, is P18. We're going to have the standings in just a second here. P17 goes to Hector Ochoa and Logan Dukes P19. Marcel Green, due to his DNF, unfortunately, is starting in the back of the pack. Wow.
So some big talking points here in this qualifying session. Most importantly, though, Hudson Poole in P11. And it's not going to be an easy one. Normally we see a championship leader, if he's back in the grid, then normally you'll just cut through the field. But he's got drivers like, you know, Philemon Goulet, Marc-André Bastien, Kyle Blevins even. They're all ahead of him. So I wonder, can he get past all of these very, very quick drivers? We'll have to see. But luckily for him, in the sprint race, if he can gain positions, he will have that same position that he gets to in the sprint race. He'll have that for the feature race, and he'll start from there. And he'll just have a lot of work to do on the racetrack, and hopefully we can see enough work from him to hopefully challenge for the championship this race. And now we see two things. We see a very cloudy sky, you know, maybe a hint of rain later on, and we see the all important T-posing mechanics.
Gotta love the T-posing mechanics and the PlayStation 2 looking graphics of the crowd clapping around, even though I'm streaming in 2K over here. But hey, I mean, overcast here on a sprint race for 10 laps. Hopefully there's, well, I mean, the drivers are hoping for no rain at this point. You know, we'll be seeing most drivers, I think all drivers actually, going mediums all the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen anyone who's bold enough to try the soft tires. I mean, I think it'd be pretty impressive if they managed it. It would definitely help them on the start. But I think we're actually heading to the lights now.
Yep, the lights are going 5 lights. The Reds are out, and the sprint race is away in COTA. It's a great start from Quentin Kay here, who's going to keep his pole position. There's been Marc-Olivier Bastien also getting a good start. Beware for turn 1. There might be a little incident. And there is! There's Luke Locklear, who's been tagged from the rear, and he spins around, and is his teammate Peter Giordano. So Ferraris are tumbling down the order. Aaron Altmaier gained a lot of positions, and he's P5, and the drivers are going side by side along the winding section. Maxime Beaulieu looks like he's been back of the pack. He's been spun around here. And I don't know if he has damage, but that might ruin his sprint race. And there's always incidents happening quite early in the race. Cal Blevins is side by side with Philemon Goulet, and I think he's been spun around as well. So every light contact could cause incidents. And Luke Locklear here has DNF'd. I don't know if that is due to contact. And we have a virtual safety car. Whoa, I am out of breath already, Nathan. So much has happened, and just half of it, like just a sector 1, and now it has turned into a full safety car. So the full safety car just got out of the pit road, and so that shortens the race considerably for a sprint race. Wow, okay, let's look at our position change and finally get our telemetry on, because I was focused on the racing here. There's so much going on. Main incidents: Luke Locklear, Kyle Blevins, Maxime Beaulieu losing positions and losing time. But when you look at Marcel Green, Jakub Karsovic, Hudson Poole, who went from P11 to P7, really interesting battles going on there. What's your take on this, Nathan?
I'll let you take a breather here. So I'm going to go through a few of the main incidents. Obviously, we saw Maxime Beaulieu getting a drive-through penalty while he stopped on track. So it just gets worse and worse for the French-Canadian driver. I mean, he's already got part of a broken wing, so he's going to need to pit to fix that anyway. But I know I was hoping that it would help him, the safety car, but now he's got to serve a drive-through penalty, and Cal is also pitting for, I'm assuming, a broken wing. Now, I'm wondering right now, will he be able to pit onto the soft tires? We still see the T-post mechanics, but the AlphaTauri mechanics are ready to do their job. And here they go. Do we see another wing? No, we don't. It's just the soft tires for Kyle Blevins. But I hope that all these drivers who had major incidents, you know, they'll be okay, because we see a Ferrari out. You know, for me, that's not what you want to see at all. But we also saw Peter Giordano. He's still in the same position that he was, but he had a great start, and then he made contact with someone, and now he's back where he started. But like you said, we have big names who have progressed through the field quite a bit. The two Red Bulls actually got an amazing start, 4 and 6 positions gained. So maybe they're just trying to bring the fight to Cody Lawrence. We saw Cody Lawrence get quite a decent start, but he just got cut over at the start, and Quinton K is still in the lead. But what is your take on drivers like Marcel Pabst, Eric Cavallo, even Aaron Allmeyer? They're up many positions. Do you think they'll be able to stay where they are right now?
I think it'll be a good game of chicken here, and the thing with Coda, where it becomes important, I believe, is that back straight, right? Depending on the top end speed that these guys go for, but depending on their setup, that's the main passing opportunity, and obviously, the overtaking during that straight line, the DRS, and so everything's going to be a little bit delayed, right? We're used to seeing DRS trains going on in Coda. Now, safety cars should be in, I believe, by the end of lap 3. By the time DRS gets activated again, we're at lap 5. And so, or at the beginning of lap 6, correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but, so that means you only have 5 laps and you really have to manage your ERS well. And again, these guys are going to be fighting side by side. We saw guys in Sector 1 going side by side, and that's what created a lot of incidents and a lot of contact. And I don't think we're done seeing this throughout the sprint race, but also the feature race as well.
I mean, pure chaos at the start, and especially in Sector 1 where you can have, cars alongside, but it's just not safe to do so. I think it's just about how brave these drivers are, because obviously if there's an opportunity, you take it. But if it's going through the very quick S's and you're going side by side, it's almost guaranteed contact. And even the car behind you and the other car making contact can still get involved in that same incident. So you just want to be very careful with what you're doing on the track. Right now it's still overcast, so the track is a bit colder than it normally would be. I don't know if that would affect the how the car feels and how the tires react to the track. I don't know if it would affect that too much, but I mean, so far it appears to have done so.
Yeah, we definitely see that affect them, especially during qualifying, right? And I don't know if the weather's gonna have an evolution where the sun might come out. That might help get a little bit more rev on the track. And I want to talk about Infamous Turn 1, right? Because, Coda, we know it has been designed with basically the favorite parts of different kind of tracks onto this circuit, right? The S's in Sector 1 remind us of Suzuka, and Turn 1 specifically kind of reminds me of Sao Paulo and Brazil, right? That's really tight, a little bit more of a tighter turn than in Sao Paulo, obviously, but you're going in a really dangerous corner to be side by side with, and then you're turning right going downhill in Turn 1. And so a lot of incidents can happen there, and it's super important in Coda to have a good Turn 1, because that lets you have a good pace for the rest of Sector 1, and that's where you can make or gain a lot of time. Safety car, we just got the notification that safety car will be going in this lap as we expected, and so we're going to hop on here with Quinton K, who's very much slowing down the pace of the grid. Part of it is probably him, the other part is probably Codemasters throttling his car, as I experienced last night as well in Coda. And Nathan, we saw Quinton having a really good start, a better start than Cody Lawrence. Do you think he'll be able to keep his lead throughout this restart?
Well, of course he'll have the advantage, probably around 4/10 on average to the car behind. And if he can just keep that and hopefully not get any wheel spin on maybe cold tires, he's gone right now. And he's not gotten the jump on Cody Lawrence at all. Cody Lawrence still sticking with him quite a bit. Quinton K gets a little bit of a better exit. We have drivers like Marcel Pabst. They really want to make things happen as Maxime Beaulieu goes into the pits once again to serve his drive-through penalty. So he's actually very clear, Quinton K, of Cody Lawrence right now. He's 5/10 clear at the moment, but will he be able to keep his lead? That's the main question that we're all asking right now. So far looks very clean through Turn 1. It looks like Haas had a bit of a moment, who's backing up a little bit of the pack right now. But so far, still very clean, no side-by-side through the Sector 1. Exactly what you want to see in good racing action. But hopefully all these drivers don't mess it up, because I wouldn't want to have a commentator's curse on me.
Most definitely. You know what, we've now had, at least in Division 1, we've not had too much of a commentator's curse lately, and so far the drivers are being much more tame than from the beginning of the race. They're really just following each other, and I'm thinking they're just working on getting the proper heat into their tires before going for some overtaking maneuvers, because it could become risky in the certain portions of the track. And even on the backstretch, we're not seeing, at least I'm not seeing yet, clear drivers going side by side yet. I'm seeing maybe Peter Giordano trying to have a peek on the inside where he thought about it, but there's no position change there as well. So he's followed closely by Cal Blevins, and Cal Blevins always going to try to dive on the inside with the soft tires. He's got the better grip there, and there he goes, side by side. Cal Blevins on Peter Giordano. He's going down into the next corner here, and will he be able to get... He had the position, and he loses it. Cal Blevins loses control, got too hard on the throttle fighting Peter Giordano, and around he goes, and that is essentially the end of the race for him, unless we get another safety car, because, man, he's only got 5 laps to catch up to the pack, and he may run out of time given that.
I just knew that was happening as soon as he turned on to the apex, and he was basically just riding the inside curb. He was just going to go around, as we have cars going side by side. Max and Cube trying to make up for the place that the places that his teammate lost. He's in a battle with Hector Ochoa right now. Hector, I don't think he'll be able to fight this one back, but we could see a moment for Max and Cube through this sector. It's very easy to lose the car if you're just pushing the throttle a little bit too hard, but it looks like Max and Cube has done good to avoid that. So far, not too many other position changes other than the ones that we were on board with, but we still have the very long straight. And I've been thinking, with the hairpins here, and turn 1 and turn 11, drivers take very different lines through here. Some might be looking to favor their exit with their line, some maybe just trying to get a good entry. But really, it matters when there's DRS enabled and you've taken a good exit line, and you go all the way down this big straight. I think that's how most of our overtakes will be made. But right now, Major Castleman and Philemon Goulet are having a battle right now. They just went past the Sector 2 checkpoint. They're in Sector 3 now, but they're still fighting as hard as they would as any other part of the track, and Major Castleman has to concede, going very wide off the track, maybe looking to get a bit close to Philemon Goulet, but he has not scared him off whatsoever. Philemon Goulet is up 1 position.
Yeah, Philemon Goulet actually really went wide on that corner to defend him, and now Major Castleman is actually under attack by Cam Bourne. And there's actually a little bit of contact. Cam Bourne hit the rear just barely of his teammate, a little bit accidental there. Looks like Cam Bourne's looking maybe to do an overtake, so we'll see if the 2 Alpines will make a switch there. And as you were saying that, I had the view as on Philemon Goulet and Major Castleman's battle there, and we're going to see a lot of fighting throughout those corners, right? After the usual overtake under braking and turn 12 after the DRS zone, you could go side by side for the next couple corners, and turn 15 becomes so key, as we've seen with Cal Blevins. He was ahead at some point of Peter Giordano, but because he throttled it too hard and got a little bit too excited, he loses the position. Marcel Paps, currently on a podium, he's sitting 3rd. He's got a 3-second time penalty, and that will hurt him immensely if this DRS train stays as packed as it is for the next 5 laps.
As Eric Carvalho might be looking to overtake Marcel Paps, and he does down this side. We won't see any battling through these corners unless we do. If we see Marcel Paps go down the inside, yes we do. He went off the track, but now he's going side by side with him once again. Will he try to go around the outside of this corner? Yes, he will. Will he be able to stick? No, he won't.
He's still on the rear of Eric Carvalho here, but this is a difficult corner to overtake. We've seen Sebastian Vettel, I believe it was against Kevin Magnussen last season, do quite an overtake at the very end of the race for some points in Coda here. But Eric Carvalho this time in the Haas is not overtaken by the McLaren, and he's got some pace up ahead of him, and the ERS management becomes so important here, because we've seen some drivers using a lot more ERS now trying to do some overtakes. Cal Blevins, he's got so much pace currently. I think there's a battle in the back. Yeah, side by side, Magnussen Cube and Marcel Green are going. Marcel Green, by the way, started P20. He's sitting P13, and so in the sprint race, although the points are only going to the top 8, he's putting himself in a great position for the feature race if he could keep up the pace. Marcel Green, so a great race for the Haas's so far. Eric Carvalho gaining 4 positions to go P3, and Marcel Green having 7 positions for P13.
Yeah, so right now the battle is getting a bit closer between the top 2. 4 tenths within Cody Lawrence and Quentin K. battery advantage is with Cody Lawrence now. I don't know if he knows that, but whatever he does know or does not know, he's not going to be attacking this lap. I wonder if he's just trying to charge his battery and put one final attack on the last lap. But right now, he's clear 1 second of the car behind. Maybe not. Eric Carvalho is trying to keep with him. But right now, he's got nothing to worry about except just Quentin K. Try to get past him, and we see the sun peeking out now. So the track will get just a tiny bit warmer. Will this get a better race for us? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I've done this race in virtual reality, and even, well, whether it's virtual reality or not, and we're already seeing it, the sun reflection on some of these curbs can get quite distracting if you're not paying attention to it a little bit too much, right? The sun's kind of in your eyes compared to other tracks where the race is held early afternoon when the sun's high. Here the sun's kind of a little bit of just over the horizon, and so especially down the back straight, we're going to see the sun peeking through the clouds. And let me tell you, in VR, it is absolutely blinding. I practically have to wear my sunglasses when I'm in VR. And as spectacular as it sounds, it is not comfortable whatsoever. As we have a sector yellow flag. Is that Major Castleman? Yeah, Major Castleman tumbling down the order, trying to catch a glimpse of what's going on with him. Kyle Blevins just overtook him, and there you go. Major Castleman is facing the wrong way. And Marcel Green gets a 3-second time penalty, so that will hurt his progress, as Marcel Green had overtaken Magnussen Cube as well, and is now sitting P12. Well, he might lose a couple positions due to track limits. Looking over on the back straight, Cody Lawrence, I think he's going for a move. He's on the ERS now. Quentin K was defending him as well, and so Cody Lawrence may have misused a little bit of battery though. Both drivers have completely or almost wasted their battery trying to, the one to defend and the other trying to overtake. And so that is that for them currently, but Cody Lawrence is all over the rear of Quentin K. Gets a better exit out of turn 15, but is not going to go any further. So he's really pressuring Quentin, and I think Cody knows he's got the better pace, and he doesn't want to be slowed down where Eric Carvalho might catch up to him and think about battling him, and so he's gonna try to make a move, I think, quicker than expected here. I thought he was gonna make it only during the last lap, but I think he's gonna go for it possibly this lap.
Yeah, we can see the line he's taking from Quentin K is very, very different. He's focusing more on the exits, and that's helping him down the straight. But surprisingly, that lap, it didn't really help him. He spent 20% of his battery, and now he's just not gotten the result that he wanted. So now he needs to stay very close behind Quentin K through this very, very tricky sector. You know, easy to mess up, and that will hurt him very much in his attack on Quentin K. Will he be able to stay with him? It looks like he will be. But the question is, will he be able to stay close enough? Because I think he'll need a gap around probably just 2.5 tenths just to even think of an overtake. And right now he has not gotten that whatsoever. And he's taken quite a different line to Quentin K through turn 11. It's not really helping this exit at all, and we can see that as the Williams gets very far away from him. On the battery now is Quentin K, as is Cody Lawrence, but Cody Lawrence knows that he does not have the battery or the chance to overtake this lap, but he does see the flashing light on the back of the Williams, so he knows that this next lap is the prime time to attack.
Yeah, one driver who got closer to them is 4 tenths behind is Eric Carvalho, who's absolutely used up almost all of his ERS. And, you know, a driver we haven't really spoken about currently, sitting P5, Hudson Poole, who had started in P11. He's climbed up the order, taken advantage of certain situations happening in front of him, held a really clean race, and so he's sitting P5. And with Marcel Pap's 3-second time penalty, if he's able to stay within that gap, he will start P4. Will finish the race P4, so that extra points for him for the sprint, and obviously start P4 for this feature race. And so that would be a great jump from him for going from P11 into P4 potentially. Last lap of the race here, and lap 10 here. So we're gonna keep an eye on the front runners. Quentin K is defending for his life, as I expect he might be doing for the feature race as well. Cody Lawrence has definitely got better pace here, but Quentin K has done a great job in defending him. And through sector 1s, we're seeing Quentin K maybe having a little bit more downforce. I don't know if that's with his setup or not, but he's gaining some time on Cody Lawrence. Went from 4 tenths to 7 tenths. But Cody Lawrence is, he's on the battery, so he knows this is the time to try to do the overtake. And he's a lot further than he used to be in the last couple laps, eh, Nathan? So I don't think he's going to have the better opportunity here to do the move on Quentin unless his battery takes him all the way through. We're going to see the time dwindling down, but I don't think he's going to be able to make a move.
No, he's he's definitely not, and that is because the Williams is running a very low downforce setup. I've heard rumors that they're running wings close to maybe even 28, 24, but that doesn't matter now because it's helped him through the race, as Ryan Newton, even trying to use that setup to his advantage, he can push off the track just a little bit by Aaron Altmaier. He will not be able to get the position unless he's got a car right behind him, and actually Michael Bastian may be trying to just get the advantage on the Williams driver. He's actually trying to on the inside of Aaron Altmaier, but Ryan Newton is still sticking right next to Michael Bastian, but he has to concede the position through turns 15, 16, and 17. And right now we go on board with Quentin K to see him maybe take his first win in a sprint race this season, and he does just that. Quentin K has won the sprint race in Coda, and we actually have a bit of an incident with none other than his teammate Ryan Newton. Around at the last corner, he's getting overtaken by the Ferrari unless he can get the switchback on him, and he does. What an absolute result for Ryan Newton. He expected to be making maybe even P5, but now he's just P12.
Yeah, and let's not forget this is a sprint race. So not only is he starting way back in the feature race, he's put himself out of the points, right? Sprint race only awards points to the top 8. As per the F1 rules, we're sticking to those rules for the sprint race, but however, we're giving points to all drivers in the full feature race. And so Hudson Poole, driver of the day, gained a lot of positions, and he finishes P4 if I saw correctly. We're going to look at the order in just a second, but it is a successful defend for Quentin K. He's going to have to defend a second time against Cody Lawrence, who finished P2 behind him. Eric Cavallo, great race for him, P3. Hudson Poole, P4. Aaron Altmaier, P5. Marcel Paps, P6. Both Alfa Romeos, P7, P8. Red Bull of Jakub Karsovic, P9. Alpine Cam Bourne, P10. Magnussen Cube, P11, Ryan Newton, 12, Peter Giordano, Hector Ochoa, Logan Dukes, Marcel Green, Cal Blevins, P17, Maxime Beaulieu, who had an unfortunate race, as well as Major Kassman and Luke Locklear, 18, 19, 20. So those bottom, I'd say the bottom 4 drivers, well, Marcel Green as well, because of his penalty, it cost him a lot, right? He showed he's got some pace. So Marcel Green down, those 5 drivers, I'm expecting them to be making a lot more gains during the actual feature race, which is going to be onto us any second now. And we've got this time no overcast, Nathan. Full weather, full sun. But this time it's not a sprint race on mediums. We're expecting to see most drivers go on hards. And we'll see how not chaotic turn 1 is going to be, because I'm going to try to counter broadcast curse this beginning of the race.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a car to spin around now. But of course, we got our good old friends, the T-Posey Mechanics. They're cheering their team on right now. But yeah, that's something I've always brought up during the broadcast. And while we're in the screen here, we can kind of see the tires in the garages actually. So if we look into the Mercedes garage here, we can tell what kind of tires that the car is trying to go on right now. That looks like the hard tires, and so we can expect a lot of drivers to start on the hard tires because that's just kind of how the strategy goes in every single track on this calendar. But yeah, like you said, very, very sunny. I think we'll have a great day here in Austin today. And hopefully the racing is as clean as the weather is.
Most definitely. And we're seeing the race starts in 10 seconds here, so we'll let everybody get set up here. We did have a desync issue last night, hoping that does not happen again tonight here. This is not a crossplay lobby. It's a full Steam lobby. Before we start the race, don't forget to like and subscribe. The red light are on. We got the 5 lights. And out they go. And we're back and racing again in Coda. It's another good start for Quentin K, who actually starting on the medium tires. He wants to get the better start here on this race. And he's going to go in turn 1. Eric Cavallo is peeking under turn 1 on Cody Lawrence. Will he get the position? Eric Cavallo is side by side with Cody Lawrence. And he's got P2. Cody gives him the position, and so Eric Cavallo takes a very important position on the medium tires. We got Philemon Goulet, who potentially got tagged in the back. Much cleaner race compared to the sprint so far, Nathan. I think my reverse broadcast curse actually worked, maybe except for Philemon Goulet.
Yeah, and we talked about the bottom 5 drivers trying to make up positions, that they're already doing that, scuffling along Sector 1. Making up position is Marcel Green, a driver who we thought would be fast, and he is fast, but not fast enough to keep Magnussen Q behind. We only had one incident, and that has already been cleared and recovered back into the grid. That was Philemon Goulet in the Alfa Romeo. He dropped down to 20th, but now he's within the grid once again. And we have some more action with the Red Bull. I believe that is Jakub Karsiewicz on Ryan Newton, who's gained 3 positions so far. And we saw that some of the drivers here are on medium tires, and that's just why we saw Eric Carvalho go around the outside of Cody Lawrence, and he's in 2nd place right now, but he will have to pick quite a bit earlier. There's actually a bit of a moment for Ryan Newton, I think. He dropped down quite a few positions, and now he's lost a position to Cam Bourne. We have Peter Giordano, who's looking to maybe pass Ryan Newton eventually, but right now it looked all very clean. No drivers trying to make overtakes at the moment. Quinton K with the fastest lap, as he should, 1:36.791. Very good laps for the first lap. And now we have drivers just jumping the battery, making sure they don't get surprise overtaken on the 2nd lap of the Grand Prix, because these drivers know that the first laps of this race are easier to gain positions than the last ones. And Ryan Newton has been overtaken by Cam Bourne once again. I wonder if there was a bit of a battle there. But right now we have another car around. Actually, that's Maxime Beaulieu. And I have to say, it's not been the race of dreams for Maxime Beaulieu at all, has it?
No, and Maxim had a lot of difficulties as well in Singapore 2 weeks ago, and so for now it's 2, I could even say 3 races in a row if you count the sprint race as well, where incidents has cost him a lot of positions, and we see him in the back of the grid, and that's not something we're used on seeing for Maxime Beaulieu. That's a little bit uncharacteristic of him, and if there's a driver that could bounce back, it's him, and he's still got time. We never know if a safety car could happen. And with some drivers trying to gain as many positions as possible, looking at Ryan Newton and Marcel Green on the mediums. Oh, Ryan Newton almost runs into the back of Jakub Karsiewicz. How did he not hit him? And somehow, now is now defending wheel to wheel, and a little bit of banging there with Cam Bourne, who tried to take advantage of that moment there. Ryan Newton, where we've seen him get a little bit in tight situations, right? You've mentioned it in the beginning of the broadcast. A great qualifying driver, but side by side with other drivers sometimes could be a little bit hectic. And now there is somebody else that's down. It's Major Castleman. We're going to try to jump with Maxime Beaulieu, see if we could catch where Major Castleman lost it, but he lost it on a very awkward position. That looks like that is on the long right-hander of turn, what is that, turn 16?
Yeah, it looks like he might have just retired his car, though. I'm not too sure. I did see the incident with Peter Giordano, though. He just lost it under traction, and now we have a bit of battle with Philemon Goulet and Kyle Blevins, two very respected drivers, and they make a lot of contact, and Philemon Goulet is around. Kyle arguably has dumped the Alfa Romeo driver, and that might not be too friendly between the two Alpha teams.
Yeah, Kyle Blevins is probably not very satisfied with his current position here, and so he's going to be fighting arms out and blazing guns, trying to do all the overtakes, and now Philemon Goulet is trying to defend, and is probably holding back the pack of Peter Giordano and Maxime Beaulieu in the back. So everywhere we're looking currently, we're starting to see more and more battles across the entirety of the grid, maybe except up front, as we can see Quinton K and Eric Carvalho have actually detached himself from the pack considerably. For one, they're using a lot more battery than everybody else from what I'm seeing, but obviously the medium tires being on the alternate strategy compared to Cody Lawrence and the other drivers behind him will be played out more towards the end of the race. Another position gained by Ryan Newton. This time he does get past Jakub Karsiewicz in the Red Bull. Other drivers who's worth noting, Hudson Poole, our current championship leader. No, Cody Lawrence is, but he's P2 and fighting for the championship lead. He's still in P5 behind Aaron Altmaier. So there was a position switch between the Aston Martin and the Red Bull, and as we can see, the Red Bull was kind of getting close. And Hudson Poole, well, that's something we've seen him do every race so far this season, is really holding back on the ERS. So we're going to expect him to do the gains a bit later in the race, a little bit later in his tire strategy, I expect.
Yeah, so we need to look at Quinton K here and Eric Carvalho. They need to pull a very big gap because obviously they have the advantage right now, but when Cody Lawrence is on the medium tires, we know he's a very quick driver when the car is fast, as is anyone. But right now, if Cody Lawrence is on the medium tires and he's chasing down maybe Quinton K and Eric Carvalho on the hard tires, he's going to have a huge advantage, maybe, you know, even up to 6/10 a lap. So they need to build a gap as much as they can right now to even try and think of a win right now.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the only driver that could really slow down Cody enough, if Cody gets on his pace, we know he's very hard to stop, as is Hudson Poole. And I think the only driver that could potentially stop him from doing that is Hudson Poole, because he's just taken the position back from Aaron Altmaier, who didn't have the opportunity to fight him much down in the back straight because of the DRS, and Hudson Pool had a bit of a wiggle, and there is a wiggle also from Arnaud Meyer, who had to brake to not hit the Red Bull, and now he's got Marc-Olivier Bastien all over him, right on his side, and Ryan Newton is not very close behind, not very far behind, sorry, and he's going to try to take advantage of that situation. And so if we get the view from Ryan Newton, there we go on the long right-hander here, turns 17 and 18, or 16 through 18, and there's a sector flag in the back. Is that Marcel Green that's around? It looks like it is. Looks like he had a moment going around the right-hander, so the low downforce drivers may be suffering a little bit on that corner, as you mentioned during qualifying, right? Where if you don't, you could lose traction in those moments on the right-hander, and a lot of position changes, a lot of battles going on. Locklear gaining position on Hector Ochoa as well, coming into turn 1 just in time. So overtaking opportunities in the DRS zones, and sector 3 especially so far the main points for overtaking.
So right now we're having Kyle Blevins having quite a bit of a battle between himself and Marcel Green, who just spun around quite recently. Through turn 1, he's been very, very keen on going around the outside here, but he hasn't really profited from this time. I mean, I don't think he even profited from last time, and he did have to take out a driver to get a position. But right now he's just trying to focus on his exits. Right now he's lost a lot of time to Marcel Green already. That's probably because Marcel Green is running the medium tires right now. But Kyle Blevins, he's a quick driver, but in this position, I don't know if there's much he can do. As we see Marc-Olivier Bastien getting past the Aston Martin of Aaron Allmeyer. Aaron Allmeyer thought that he could fight it for a second, but he decided not to. Now we have Ryan Newton on the medium tires right behind Aaron Allmeyer. Will he go around the outside? It looks like he's trying to, but I don't think he will. Maybe going for the switchback, get a better exit, but he hasn't. So that is how the order remains right now. We've seen a lot of people spinning around in this very big right-hander here. I mean, I know it's easy to spin around, but I think at Division 1, I think you should just know you maybe need to take a little bit of a lift if you're at such a low down for setup here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of drivers who are not very content with their sprint results, and they brought that into this race, and they're a little bit more aggressive, especially going through sector 3s, where you have the opportunity of going side by side, and there's a driver around in the back. That is Peter Giordano, who's lost it. That is turn 19. I believe he lost it just between 19 and 20. A little bit of an awkward moment to lose it there. Not a good race so far for Ferrari tonight, sending P12 and P19 currently early in the race. Things could change quickly. A safety car could definitely jumble up the order, but Ferrari's not very content with their race to begin with. Back on the front of the grid, Nathan. Oh, and we're seeing, was that Kyle Blevins who's just spun as well? I believe so. So spin and a 3-second time penalty for Kyle Blevins. Maybe that's not the best moment for us to go talk to Fitz Toast, is it? To ask him how his drivers are going.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we'll talk to him later around when the pit strategy will come into play here. But right now we're looking at a very, very tight battle between the Aston Martin and the Alfa Romeo of Aaron Allmeyer and Marc-Olivier Bastien. Two very quick drivers on the same tires, so I think we'll have some good racing action as Ryan Newton goes down the inside. Dive bomb from Ryan Newton, and he's gotten the position. Will Aaron Allmeyer fight it back? No, he won't. But what a move from Ryan Newton as he sends one down the inside to get P6. He's looking to go up near his teammate as Luke Locklear gets P11 from Magnussen Cube. And what a great overtake still by Ryan Newton as he sticks with it. He's lost quite a bit of his battery though, 11%, while the driver behind him has 27, so maybe at a bit of a disadvantage right now when he's trying to catch Marc-Olivier Bastien. Still within the DRS range on the faster tire, so maybe Ryan Newton still has a few things to his favor, but right now he's going to have to worry about that battery quite a bit here.
Yeah, and he could probably hold the battery. He's got the better grip for now in Sector 1, and Marc-Olivier Bastien is going to be at a disadvantage on the back straight because he doesn't have the DRS on Hudson Pool currently. Hudson Pool kind of pulled the gap on him, and that means Ryan Newton, who is definitely not afraid, as we've just seen, to do the high-risk, high-reward kind of moves, and he's up there. He's currently sitting in P6, and he's going to be looking at P5 in the next couple of corners here, as there are battles a little bit all over the track. But this was one of the main battles in the middle of the pack with Marc-Olivier Bastien, Ryan Newton, and Aaron Allmeyer. But currently, Aaron Allmeyer, who was P4, is not losing positions and is not looking backwards more than forwards. Looks like he's got to defend a lot, and I'm wondering if is it raceability or is it the setup? What is going on? And sitting with Ryan Newton real quick, Marc-Olivier Bastien completely dumped his battery to defend against the Williams driver here. and he's just hoping that eventually he gets on the crossover point where the hard tires have a little bit more performance in them than the mediums do. And Hudson Poole, I don't know if he had a moment, but he's closed the gap considerably on Hudson Poole by over a second, or just quite. He was at 1.7 seconds and by the end of Sector 1, and now by the end of the lap, he's going to be at 0.7 seconds. I think Hudson Poole had a moment there.
Yeah, not exactly what Ryan Newton needed in his pursuit of Marc-Louis Bastian, but at least that means Hudson Poole is a bit closer now to Ryan Newton. Because right now, Ryan Newton is the only driver that can really intentionally back up Hudson Poole and Marc-Louis Bastian, two very quick drivers indeed. He can back them up from their attack on Quinton K. At the moment, that doesn't look very possible anyway, because right now Quinton K is 1.3 seconds clear of Eric Avalio, and then about 4.9 seconds clear of Cody Lawrence. So right now, it's smooth sailing for Quinton K. 5 seconds to gap. I think he'll be good to maybe even win this race still. But there's a lot to be done here in terms of how many laps we got done, and how many corners there is, and how many times that he could maybe mess up. But I won't try to curse him anymore.
Yeah, most definitely. Just looking at our biggest winners and losers here at lap 8 of this race so far. As we keep mentioning, Ryan Newton, who started P12, he's now sitting P6, and potentially looking at P5. He's coming down in the back straight, and I think he might try to make a move as well. And I don't think Marc-Olivier Bastien has his wing open from what I'm seeing, so he's gaining on him as it is. Real quick, Luke Locklear, P11, he's gained 9 positions, and Ryan Newton is going side by side with Marc-Olivier Bastien. Will he be able to make the move stick? So far, he does, and that's another overtake for him, and that's 7 positions taken since the beginning of the race. He's now sitting P5, and he's looking at the rear of Hudson Poole. And can Hudson Poole, or will Hudson Poole be vulnerable? There's definitely the battery advantage to the Red Bull currently, and I think a guy like Ryan Newton, who's showing incredible pace currently on those medium tires, is gonna try to battle Hudson Poole, and Hudson Poole gets a 3-second time penalty at that infamous corner, turn 19. You said it earlier, Nathan, that's a corner where track limits are very, very close, and so he gets a 3-second time penalty, and so does Marcel Green, I believe, on that same corner as well. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see more time penalties be given throughout the drivers who are really pushing it all out. And currently Ryan Newton in Sector 1, he is within the second on Hudson Poole. No battery, so I'm thinking Hudson Poole's going to try to run away with it in the back straight with his ERS advantage.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely amazing pace from Ryan Newton so far. I believe his medium tires will start to fly away soon, but at the moment they're doing the job right now. He's almost out of 1 second gap, but he stayed within it enough. We have more penalties coming through here. Another easy place to get a time penalty is right where Marcel Green has spun. It's at that, a little tricky, maybe a little bit of a chicane, upper chicane, and Marcel Green has fallen to that because either you get a time penalty, you spin there, or you take the perfect line and you get the perfect result that you need to get through those corners. But right now, I'm more focused on the battle that we've been looking at pretty much these last couple laps here. Ryan Newton, Hudson Poole. Right now, I'm not too worried about whether Ryan Newton can get past Hudson Poole or not, because at the moment, Hudson Poole has not gained any time to go to the Lawrence whatsoever. So that means that Ryan Newton will also not be gaining any time to... Oh, actually, Hudson Poole has a bit of a moment. Will Ryan Newton be able to get the move done through 15, 16, 17? No, he won't, because the car of Hudson Poole has unghosted just at the perfect time, right in the gearbox now of the Red Bull. Ryan Newton maybe even will try to get an overtake here into turn 1. Will he try? I don't think he will, because he knows that Hudson Poole has the battery advantage, and yeah, it's just smart to stay behind at the moment.
I just want to look at something real quick though. I don't know if you've seen the same thing I did. Hudson Poole did not touch his battery on the start-finish straight. He had the better exit on Ryan Newton. Ryan Newton with the DRS didn't really gain that much on him. So I'm thinking maybe a driver like Hudson Poole is maybe driving with a much lower downforce than most other drivers to do the overtakes on the back straight. And I think that might explain where he's had moments, I believe. I'm currently seeing him twitch around a little bit. Marcel Green in the Haas, I think with the moments and probably a little bit of disappointment for him, is retarded into the pits. And I believe, I'm just checking on his car. Okay, so his car did retard properly in the pits. I thought his car was going to come and drive out back on the track. But that is that. Ryan Newton with the DRS, and I think with the ERS this time, again, Hudson Poole not really defending that much using the battery, and he's going to cut it on the inside just in time, and Ryan Newton was so close to trying to make an overtake, trying to make the dive bomb on him, I think we're really starting to see the hard tires come alive here, or even the hard tires are coming alive, where the medium tires are really struggling here. We're approaching the pit strategies. We're going to keep an eye on the battle going on. Nathan, walk us through the pit strategies going on here. What's Hudson Pool looking at, and what is Ryan Newton looking at, since they're driving on alternate strategies?
Well, right now, Hudson Pool is not going as fast as he'd like to on the hard tires. He's lost a second. I don't know if that's because he's fighting Ryan Newton. Still very easy on the battery at the moment. Will Ryan Newton go for the overtake here? If he does, those medium tires will help him very much. But if they don't, as he goes down the inside, just tries to get Hudson Pool in his place, but he doesn't. And so anyways, back to the tire strategy. Ryan Newton should be looking to pit here in about 3 laps here. Hudson Pool, I think he can stay easily until maybe lap 16, 17. No medium tires last around 12 laps, no matter how much fuel you're running. Hard tires, easy 20 laps, but you know, you don't normally run the hard tires to 20 laps at all. But right now, I think both drivers still have a little bit left in them to pit. And right now, Ryan Newton is still trying his best to get an overtake done on Hudson Pool, but you know, we've seen that Hudson Pool just has the pace that he needs to stay in front of the Williams. And right now, he's still not really using his battery at all. I wonder if he's just using it on exits of the back straight, because he knows that his car is just faster at the moment. And I don't even think that's due to a setup thing, because when I went on board with Jakub Karsiewicz last lap, he was losing major amounts of time on the straight. I don't know if that's just because he was a bit further behind with DRS, but at the moment, I think that Hudson Pool, his battery is what's helping him stay ahead of Ryan Newton. I don't think it's anything to do with the aerodynamics here.
Unless they're riding alternate setups between teammates, because having driven with Red Bull, I know Hudson Pool tends to take a setup and tweak it to his liking, but nonetheless, he's able to stay in front of the Williams driver, who's driving a great race so far. But now the next step for Ryan Newton is one of two things: not getting too greedy, because if that happens, he might try to make an overtake on Hudson Pool, but if he goes for the high risk, high reward situation and causes an incident, that's going to harm him a lot more than it would help him, especially for Williams. And so maybe he's just best to carry on the DRS with Hudson Pool, gain as much speed from that as possible, because when they switch tires, Hudson Pool theoretically should have a lot more pace than Ryan Newton on the medium tires when he switches on the hards. And so I think Ryan Newton has the opportunity, however, to solidify his top 5 by using the DRS from Hudson Pool. There was an incident in the back. I think was that Logan Deuce in the McLaren, I think, who had an incident and momentarily triggered the yellow flag.
No, just Peter Giordano retiring from the session.
Oh, it is Peter Giordano. Okay, so I saw a driver a little bit slower in the Sector 1. That is Peter Giordano. Yeah, that is him retiring into, well, not directly into the pits, so I can't get on board with him, but his AI looks like he's driving back on track. I believe will retire at the end of turn 1. Hopefully does not get in the way of any drivers throughout the lap, but yeah, that is done for Peter Giordano. Not a satisfactory race for him in COTA, and I don't remember which position he ended on in Singapore. But I don't think he had the best race in Singapore. Quentin K and Eric Cavallo, the first cars in the medium laps, on the medium tires, to be going into the pits, as is Ryan Newton. So all our medium tire runners are going into the pits, and I'm seeing Luke Locklear as well. Luke Locklear, who was on the hard tires. I don't know if it's by an incident or by strategy. It doesn't look like he's replacing the wings or anything. He's going to go 15 laps on the medium tires. So he's going for a major undercut here. Probably because he thinks he's got better pace to go on the medium tires.
Yeah, so right now, the drivers that we've been looking at for so long now, Quentin K, I mean, it's really about where they pitted and where they pitted into now. I think right now, Quentin K is doing a very good job of just not pitting into traffic, so he'll have clear road ahead of him. He'll easily have the pace advantage on Cody Lawrence at the moment once he gets his tires up to temperature. Once Cody Lawrence pits, I think we'll have a real battle on our hands. But we'll talk back to Luke Locklear. I mean, pitting very early indeed for the medium tires. Maybe just an undercut, or maybe he just felt like pitting when everyone else was, not to lose too much, at least in the mentality of where you are at the moment. But right now, I've actually seen Michael Bastian getting quite close to Hudson Pool. I don't know where he was in terms of the Ryan Newton Hudson Pool battle, but he's certainly closed up quite a bit from where he was back then. and still a time penalty for Hudson Pool that drops him down to even 7th position, I think. So the Red Bull driver will have a lot of ground to cover and a lot of pace to make up if he wants to keep the 2nd position that he has at the moment.
Yeah, most definitely. Marc-Olivier Bastien was behind Ryan Newton, trying to take advantage of a potential battle between him and Hudson Pool. That hasn't happened. Newton went into the pits and got on the hard tires. Now we're looking at Bastien trying to keep up with Hudson Pool. Obviously, maybe not being so as aggressive as Ryan Newton, given the 3-second penalty to the Red Bull driver. There is that Maxime Beaulieu again? It is. That is the Aston Martin around once again. I think he might be thinking of going into the pits and trying an undercut here, lap 14 with his hard tires. No, he doesn't. So he has a spin, but he's going to keep going on the hard tires for now. Unfortunately for him, not the best of races. The other thing is Hudson Pool currently is the leader, and this is where his ERS management is so crucial, right? Because he's not dumped at all and left himself vulnerable to overtakes. He's still got some battery left to defend himself from Marc-Olivier, from Marcel, who are at below 15% ERS. And meanwhile, Hudson Pool, he's not even touching it on the back straight, and he's got a driver behind him on DRS. And so he's only going to tap maybe a little bit on his ERS just to keep up ahead, but he's really able to time it really well so far. And that allows him to defend his position, as he's been doing for quite a number of laps right now. And that's something that's going to be key for him. Unfortunately, though, that he's not pulling away from them, and that 3-second time penalty, unless he's thinking he'll be able to get it removed somehow if there's an incident that we haven't seen yet. But he's going to have to pick up the pace if he doesn't want that 3-second time penalty to really hurt him.
I mean, he's doing a very good tire managing job right now, especially ERS managing as well. Once he pits, I think he'll have around 80% battery, and that'll be enough to help him in his pursuit, as we have our first hard tire runners who pit, other than Luke Lockley. Of course, we have Maxime Q, Marcel Paps, Marc-Olivier Bastien all into the pits right now. I don't think anyone else is pitting at the moment, but we have 3 drivers maybe looking to make an undercut here. You know, lap 15, I'd say it's a decent lap to pit for the medium tires. We'll see what they can do here.
Luke Locklear just had the best time of the race, but 1:35.9. Locklear was having a good race with the undercut, and this is where we want to see if the undercut works out for him as well, because he pitted 2 laps earlier, and that is Luke Locklear, who comes out in front of the pitters of Marc-Olivier Bastien, Marcel Paps, and Magnussen Cubitt pitted earlier, who just finished his pit strategy. And so, good work for him, for Luke Locklear so far. Terrible news on the Red Bull front. It's another 3-second time penalty for Hudson Pool. He's up to 6. And that would make him drop down. If I'm looking real quick, he might be dropping down. Well, we'll see how the pack tightens up again, because the pit strategies really spread everybody apart. But I might drop him down to potentially P6.
Yeah, not good news for the Red Bull side at all, but at least good news for Luke Lockley here. And I'm kind of confused here, because he was very far behind Marc-Olivier Bastien and Marcel Paps when they were not pitting, when Luke Lockley was still not pitted yet. But now he's gone into a place where he can even be challenging for a podium here, because Marc-Olivier Bastien and Marcel Paps, we remember Hudson Pool was being threatened by them almost. So yeah. Will Luke Lockley be coming out ahead of Hudson Pool? I think it might be close here. But right now we see the Red Bull, you know, the fastest pit team, arguably. And he goes out now. Luke Locklear is going down the final corner now. I don't think that he'll have got the advantage on Hudson Pool, at least not on track yet, but very close as he's making an overtake, maybe on Philippe Mangoulet, sorry. And there is Hudson Pool right in front of them. Will he interfere with this battle at all? He's gotten past Alfa Romeo as Luke Locklear, and now he's got a Red Bull right in front of him with cold tires. This could mean P2 right here. This is a very crucial overtake that Luke Locklear might be able to make here. It's very close. He's going down the inside almost. He's going to keep on putting the pressure on the Red Bull driver. He's absolutely pushing Hudson Pool along right now. Maybe getting a warning in the process, but now he's very close within the DRS right now. I think he might be able to make a good overtake. Battery advantage goes.
Oh, he almost got us into the back of the Red Bull. Not Locklear and Hudson Pool again. And this time, sorry for cutting you off, Nathan, but we've seen this so often before. And I think Hudson Pool is going to defend for his life on this one a lot harder than other drivers, because Locklear and Hudson Pool have come together more often than not. And more often than not, the penalty went to Locklear. And unfortunately for Locklear, he just doesn't have the overtake on him. He doesn't have the battery to do so. And so Hudson Poole is able to defend. That was quite a scary situation, and we had the perfect view on that one. And now we're going to see if the undercut works, right? For Hudson Poole, Luke Locklear, and the drivers in the mid-pack right now. The ones that have not pitted already, obviously with Quentin K also that was in front. Because Cody Lawrence has got into the pits. He's coming out on the medium tires. Will he come out with the advantage on Quentin K? He will not. Quentin K is going to be in front of him by a margin. I think now we're looking at Hudson Poole. No, so Cody Lawrence is right in the between, in clear air, right? That's a good place to be for Cody Lawrence, not being attacked and not having to attack another driver. He's got his ERS replenished. He's gonna have the medium tires heated up quite quickly in Coda, and so now he'll be able to potentially be in an attacking position on Quentin K and Eric Cavallo. Currently, Cam Bourne is in P1, given the fact that he's not pitted yet. Other thing that's worth noting, Eric Cavallo, he's challenging for the race win as well. He closed the gap immensely on Quentin K so far, where he was about a second and a half, almost 2 seconds behind him, and now he's in his DRS. So Quentin K, in the sprint, we saw him defending against Cody Lawrence. Now he's got to defend against Eric Cavallo, and potentially the next 10 laps, also against Cody if the pace is there as well. And so nothing is played yet on the grid lines. There's still a lot of racing with 11 laps to go. Anything could happen here in Coda.
Yeah, and something very crucial is that Cody Lawrence has gained almost 1 second. He has gained 1 second from when he exited the pit, so his tires are already up to temperature, and he's got a hunt on his hands. You can see Eric Carvalho 2 seconds ahead of him at the moment. Cam Bourne finally pits, and he will not be in this fight whatsoever. Some bad news for Hudson Poole is that the how do I say this? The DRS train has still kind of been as tight as it was before the pit stops, so he will drop many positions from his penalties. 6 seconds right now, and I think at the rate he's going, he could be looking for 3 seconds more. Don't want to jinx it, but I think that it just could happen at the moment. We have Thiru Mangule into the pit, one of the quicker drivers who is actually pit now. No, yeah, for some reason I thought that he was actually fighting near the front, but I guess not. So, Eric Carvalho back on board with him. He has the battery advantage, same tires for the two drivers, and wow, just Cody Lawrence right now, he's gained another second.
That is crazy pace, Nathan.
Yeah, his pace is just phenomenal right now. He's almost within the DRS. He's cutting curbs like they're nothing, and right now he's looking to cut Quentin K's championship right in half. So he can see the two cars that he needs to overtake right in front of him. He's wondering if maybe they'll even battle, because right now Eric Carvalho is getting very close, and I wonder maybe we'll see a situation where Eric Carvalho and Quentin K are battling, and in the midst of that battle, Cody Lawrence can slip right in between both of them and get the lead.
You don't want to cut you off, Nathan, but there's wheel-to-wheel action with Marc-Olivier Bastien and Luke Locklear. There's a bit of tire rubbing there. Marc-Olivier Bastien dived in down on the inside of Luke Locklear for the position, and Locklear was pushed a little bit off track, and it pushed off again, and there's contact again with Marcel Pabst. He's going again in turn 16, side by side with the Ferrari driver. Both drivers completely using their ERS, trying to get the advantage. Locklear loses 2 positions to the Alfa Romeo driver and to the McLaren driver, who tried to take advantage of that battle that was ahead of him, and so Locklear loses positions. It's Marc-Olivier Bastien P5, Marcel Pabst, and then McLaren. There's great results so far if he's able to keep it for the McLaren. And back up ahead, Quentin K, he is fighting for his life, and our predictions are right. Look at Cody Lawrence, he's all over the back of them. And now if you're Eric Cavallo, you're trying to figure out, is he attacking or is he defending? And he's gonna have to choose his moment correctly, because if he uses his battery, he'll leave himself either completely vulnerable or a winner by the end of this race.
Yeah, at the moment, Eric Carvalho has the most to gain in terms of the championship right now, so he's looking to make as many overtakes as he can as Cody Lawrence tries to go down the inside of Eric Carvalho. I don't know if this will help
got
him
it.
at all.
He's got the better exit as well, and the DRS from Quentin K. He's not waiting for the DRS. He had, but now Eric Cavallo is coming back side by side on him. Will he be able to make it or try to go on the dive bomb with the medium tires? No, he doesn't. So Cody Lawrence keeps it clean to begin with, but he's completely depleted the batteries on Eric Cavallo. Oh, what defending from the Haas driver, and what a stressful moment for the top 3. This is exciting
And spectacular racing. And so there's a dive bomb from Cody Lawrence. Will he make it stick on Eric Cavallo? The drivers are bumping wheels down to turn 16 and 17 and 18 they go. Who's going to come out on top of that? What move from Cody Lawrence? Mercedes driver is in P2 now, and he's going to be fighting for the lead when the next couple laps. Eric Cavallo has to concede the position. What a move, a power move from Cody Lawrence. There's a sector flag in the rear. I believe that's Kyle Blevins who had a spin, and it is... Wow, what a move from Cody Lawrence.
Yeah, down the inside goes Cody Lawrence on Quinton K for the lead of
He's
the race.
doing
Does he
it.
get the lead of the race? And he does. Amazing driving from the Mercedes driver, Cody Lawrence, into the lead of the race. And I think he has a clear road ahead of him. And he's going to take all of that road, and he's going to get a great advantage here from these medium tires. But Quinton K is sticking with him very, very quickly. I wonder if he can stick for much longer. The battery advantage goes to Quinton K at the moment, but it's still very, very slim for both drivers. Cal leaves the session, gets a 5-second time penalty. It's all going wrong for him, as it is for Quinton K. He gets a time penalty, and that leaves Eric Cavallo into P2 now. Hudson Poole has even gotten into this battle quite a bit. He's within 7 tenths of Eric Cavallo, and maybe somehow on track we might see a battle between himself, Hudson Poole, and Cody Lawrence. We just have to wait and see, because this track is something that can give us a lot of action, and I've loved what we've seen so far.
Oh, Nathan, let me tell you, I was out of breath earlier, I kind of am right now, and I am not even sitting on my seat anymore. The top 5 racers have been giving us some crazy action in COTA so far in this feature race, and we are loving it at Zoom Racing League here, whether it be the fans watching us, the other drivers from different divisions, engineers watching over the stream. I myself, I'm absolutely loving this race so far. Cody Lawrence, Quinton K, Eric Cavallo, Hudson Poole, not going to be best thing. Even Ryan Newton has given us some great overtakes as well earlier in the race. These guys are putting overtakes left and right, and it is not over. We still have 8 crucial laps to be erased, because Cody Lawrence, so far, he's got the lead on the medium tires. Quinton K and Eric Cavallo are in a bit of a sandwich here. Eric Cavallo is going to go for the dive on the inside. He's got it so far, but Quinton K has the better throttle here on turn 1. We're going to go in there with Eric Cavallo. He's got the lead. Well, actually, he got P2 over Quinton K, and Hudson Poole in P4 currently, who's actually used a lot more ERS lately, is also going to be looking to gain the position there as well. Quinton K and Hudson Poole, unfortunately, their penalties is going to be hurting them a lot. Hudson Poole, oh, there's a bit of contact, just barely any contact as we've heard it on Quinton K. He might be looking on the inside here. He's going to play it safe for now. Will Hudson Poole get the better corner exit speed here? And there's another sector flag. I think that's Kyle Blevins. Yeah, Kyle Blevins also DNFing into the pits. And so that is done for him. I don't know if, Nathan, you want to poke at Fitz, if you want to have him in the booth here, because that would be a good moment to talk about his drivers. In the midst of this battle, we have to keep an eye on the top 4, because right now that is some great driving. And look at Cody Lawrence. Look at the gap that he's pulled. What masterful racing. Again, Cody Lawrence is pulling in COTA, and he is, I think he's going to run away with it, but it's not done for the other 3 drivers, Eric Cavallo and Hudson Poole, and Quinton K. It's going to be quite a fight for them.
Yep, so here we go. Fitz Toast, bit of an issue for tonight, but here he is, Mr. Fitz Toast. Not a great race so far. We got a driver retired and another driver in P13. What is your insight on that so far?
Yeah, Cal had a rough one. Just getting pushed around in the back with other folks just trying to push each other around. So just too many elbows out to try to keep it in between the white lines, and then you push and shit happens. But we're Magnussen's still doing good. He's got much better pace than a couple of these guys around him right now, and that undercut helped nicely. He's had a couple hiccups here and there, but he's definitely faster than Hector Cam.
Yeah, we've got quite some action going on the front of the grid currently, Fitz, so apologies ahead if ever we cut you off to describe some battling going on, potentially something that's going to happen between Hudson Poole and Eric Cavallo. Magnussen, just walk us through, we've seen Magnussen Cubes doing a very decent race for him, P13 currently, although his time penalty is hurting him. Kyle Blevins, how frustrating of a, well, the sprint race didn't go as he wanted, and now the feature race, how frustrating of a weekend has it been for him?
It's a bummer. I mean, same thing happened in the other races, you know. Some people fall to the back, just put a lot of elbows out and stop caring about who's there and what's there, and sometimes it just hurts you driving, and can't do a whole lot about that besides just push, push, push. But here's the place that punishes you when you push too hard. And had a couple spins off that. But, you know, it's just the race at Coda. It's just how it works.
Yeah, so the driver's ahead of Max and Cube right now. Even if he does clear them, he has the time penalty. Will drop him back down once again. I mean, at the moment, it's not looking too good for Max and Cube, but his order just push, push, push and see what you can do, because anything can happen in the race, can't it?
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing with Hector. And I mean, everybody's racing really tight right there. And then you have the Magnificent Wonder spin kid, Ryan Newton, in front of him. So you never knew what's exactly going to happen with them. So Cam and Hector are definitely in his targets right now because he's been racing faster than Hector all day. Had a little bit of a hiccup and let him by. But if he can push, we got him. And I mean, we're here to race on track, so let's race on track. Let the penalties happen afterwards.
Most definitely fits. And, you know, being a steward myself, I've got to ask you, how many tickets are we looking at for tonight?
For tonight so far, I think there's been a lot of hard racing. It's Division 1, so everybody gets a little bit more up in arms. So I'm sure you guys are going to have a busy week, especially with the D2 race as well. But I think tonight, everything's been, you know, it's good racing. It's good hard racing. I've seen a couple things that are ticketable, I suppose, and you guys will see them. But I think it's honestly just been a really good race.
Ooh. Real quick, Hudson Poole had a moment of oversteer. He's lost the rear and lost considerable time to Eric Cavallo, and now Quentin K is all over his rear, and so I think we're starting to see the medium tires, especially for Hudson Poole, starting to give him a little bit of wiggle in the rear here. And Quentin K, and let's not count out Marc-Olivier Bastin, who's he's got no penalties on his time currently. Hudson Poole's got 6 seconds penalty. Quentin K's got 3 seconds. So Marc-Olivier Bastin, if he continues like that, he's looking at a podium potentially. Within the next 5 laps where we're going to be done racing. When we're looking at the drivers' fits ahead of you, I know AlphaTauri's got their own goals, but when you see drivers like Cody Lawrence, right now Eric Cavallo, who's we know he could pull a rabbit out of his hat and in any race, Hudson Poole's, when is AlphaTauri going to get that kind of driver in their ranks? I know that is not an easy question to ask you, but is there somebody in there that has a contact or something that could really help pull AlphaTauri through to get way better than P7 in the combined constructors?
What the hell?
Oh, what's happened here? Hudson Poole. Is Hudson Poole DNFing? He stopped on the track. Sorry, Fitz. Wait a moment before you answer that one. Hudson Poole is stopped on the track. I don't know if something's happened. He's retired from the session. Hudson Poole is out of the race. Lap 24 of 28. We've got a sector yellow flag. Will it trigger potentially a safety car? I don't think it will. His AI looks to be parking it, and he's left the session. And I wonder, and that's something we've seen before, hardware issues, like his wheel. Oh my goodness, Hudson Poole got a 9-second time penalty, and we didn't see what happened, but that is over for him. He'll be finishing P16.
Wow, I mean,
Oh
I think we should ask our final questions if it's now, because I think we'll have more action here.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I think that Cal definitely is up to the speed of these guys sometimes. Like, he's just got to work on getting it nailed down, but he has great pace, and he puts in the time, and he's got the pace. Sometimes there's hiccups here and there, especially if we get started at the back. If we get him qualifying back in the top 6, he's going to be finishing in the top 6. And we just got to make sure that happens. But we have Cal, and he's there. Just got to make it work sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, we've what was that, 2 seasons ago, and I think that's probably what put your eye on that driver. Now, I've raced with Cal. I think it was in Division 2, and that guy, this kid came out of nowhere, Division 3 kid. He was absolutely flying, and at some points, I remember during joint practices with AlphaTauri, or back then I think he was even with Red Bull anytime. Anyways, I forget which team he was in, but he was absolutely flying, and he had the speed of Hudson Poole at some point. So I don't know if it's the pressure that's coming, that's getting to him, but I know this guy is, like you said, he's definitely got. You say top 6, I'm gonna go top 5 most definitely. He's able to get it.
He had a rough season in Alpine and D2. He got dropped down to D3, and he put in time. He got some open space, and he is pushing. He's practicing with Eruption and Cody and Hudson, and learned a lot. He's been spending a lot of time, and he's fast as hell, and he's going to show it. And I know he's got all the pace and he's got all the talent to do it. We just got to make sure it happens on Sundays.
Yeah, just got to put him in the right mindset at this point. That's really the way he needs.
Yep. Well, look, I think we're going to have a great season so far. We just got to put all our Lego blocks together.
Most definitely. All right, Fitz, I'm going to let you go back to your team. We're at the final 3 laps here. Thank you once again for doing this throughout the race and the qualifying earlier. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, Nathan. I mean, Cody's got a 3.3 second time lead on Era Carvalho. Carvalho's quite set for P2 if there's no Hudson Poolish kind of incidents. Who is in the pits in the back? Is that Philemon Goulet who's going for the soft tires? Yeah, I think he just switched to the soft tires. He's going to sacrifice the position on Maxime Beaulieu to go for the fastest lap, and I don't remember who has it. I remember seeing Luke Locklear have it, and he's currently sitting in P5 despite his penalty. We've lost 5 drivers in D1. That's not something you see very often.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't lost Aaron Allmeyer either. We haven't lost him on track at all either. We have a bit of a battle between these 2 drivers here, a bit of a DRS train battle as we've seen before. And Cam Bourne and Jakub Karstowicz going side by side through these corners, who we know can go side by side through these corners, and he has done just that. Cam Bourne ahead of Jakub Karstowicz right now, Marcel Paps even ahead of Ryan Noon trying his signature dive bomb on the McLaren driver. Has not worked this time around. And now this is kind of that time of the race where we focus on the midfield battles, because we do have a lot of tight racing in the midfield. The front's already decided. No Hudson Pool to worry about anymore. Right now we need to focus on Luke Locklear's time penalty. Because at the moment that will set him back all the way down to around 9th position at the moment.
Yeah, every driver between P3, because Michael Bastien is going to be finally potentially battling Quinton if he wants to on track, but everybody from Luke Locklear all the way down to Cam Bourne and Hector Ochoa as well, right? It's in P11, and he's on the rear of Jakub Karstowicz. So if Karstowicz wants to make a move, he's got to make sure he's able to also defend against the Mercedes driver. And so everybody currently will be making a move within the next 2 laps, the 2 final laps of the race, trying to make the move to gain a position while defending from the driver behind them. And that's going to be a really tricky position, and we might see some final incidents, some final little bumps and shoves over here. And leading the main DRS train is Luke Locklear, who's going a little bit wide on the left of the track to avoid some slipstream. Aaron Allmeyer is all over him. Who's got the better top speed? Looks like Aaron Allmeyer won't be able to make a move. Marcel Paps, same thing, and Ryan Newton, who's behaving so far. Will he be trying another dive bomb as he tried on the McLaren? He doesn't do so as well. So everybody's keeping the position, and I think the fact that it's a DRS train, it's hard to overtake a driver when he's also got DRS on a driver in front of you. And this is what we're seeing currently, and obviously everybody's been using their batteries so much. There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities going on. We're lap 28 officially as Cody Lawrence just crossed the line, and we're seeing another 3-second time penalty on Quinton K. Is that his second? Yeah, so that's 6 seconds on Quinton K. That might drop him down to P5, maybe P6 if I'm calculating right. We'll let the game do that at the end because my mind is not up to mathing right now, and that means that's gonna essentially ruin his race. Quinton K has been racing so good the sprint and the feature race as well.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just amazing battles between everyone, and still after all these battles, they still managed to stay within gaps of penalties ahead. Even Quinton K isn't safe from the drivers behind right now. It's dropping down to maybe 6th position after this, because Luke Locklear also has a time penalty. Will drop him down to maybe even 9th. Marcel Paps having a bit of a moment as he goes into turn 11. Now he's got the Williams of Ryan Noon, who we know can fight here on this track. He's got him right behind, but doesn't go for the slipstream, so I don't imagine...
Aaron Allmeyer's going to make a move on Luke Locklear. Sorry to cut you off there, Nathan. He's got the move on Locklear. Down on turn 12 he goes. Will Locklear be able to defend from the overtake? And Jakub Karstowicz does the overtake as well on Cam Bourne. And so, or was he defending from Cam Bourne, one or the other? And Aaron Allmeyer gains P5 at the very last second. Despite Luke Locklear having a penalty, Allmeyer did not worry about making the move here.
And so he might put himself in a better position. I would believe he would go P4 after the penalties. Cody Lawrence has also just crossed the line, and he wins COTA. And another masterclass race for him. Eric Cavallo, what a race for him in P2. Great results for the Haas. Marc-Olivier Bastien, another podium for him in P3. Aaron Allmeyer does finish P4. Quentin K has dropped P5 due to penalties, unfortunately for him, but still great points for Williams. Marcel Paps in P6. I gotta say, that's a great result for McLaren. I don't remember the last time we saw two McLarens finish a race, to be quite honest. So Marcel Paps is P6, Logan Dukes in P12. So a great race for the McLaren boys tonight in Division 1. Jakub Karsovic, the only Red Bull to finish. We're going to have to figure out what happened to Hudson Poole. It looks like he had a hardware issue, and that dropped him out of the race. He'll be finishing P16. We're going to look at a second for the rest of our standings as our top 3 drivers get ready for interviews. Driver of the day, Luke Locklear. If I remember correctly, didn't Locklear finish start at the very back?
Yeah, I mean,
I think-
still finishing 10th with his penalty, though.
Despite the finishing 10th. So that's a 10th place gain despite the penalties. How costly the penalties are in COTA, especially in Division 1, where most drivers are really closely packed. Throughout this entire race, Nathan, we saw drivers constantly battling or having to defend. I mean, COTA, we had high expectations for COTA, and COTA delivered.
As it always does. I mean, great action on this track, lots of overtaking points, and we saw them being taken advantage of today. Really excited to see all these drivers, with the racecraft that they showed today, even some moments happening. I think that we'll still have a great season with, everything, as we actually have big news for season 7's Division 1 season. That was a lot of words, but big news. Swinny G is replacing Hudson Poole for Red Bull.
Oh, so that's something that just came out, I believe, in general. So that's something we're gonna have to discuss, and maybe if we could get team principal, like a mechanic, into the chat later, we'll try to see if we could poke him for an interview real quick, because that is some really big news, and that will affect the grid. I gotta do this in 5 seconds, but you're seeing them over here. Well, actually, we only let me just go to the actual race finish. A lot of penalties given, and I was not fast enough to tumble down the order here for the standings, but we've seen them there. Wow, okay. So much going on in so little time. Nathan just dropping quite the bomb into the chat here. We're going to take a quick moment here. We're going to get set up for the interviews, and we'll try to speak with the right people to get as much information as we can for the post-race interviews. And up next, the top 3 and maybe team principal of Red Bull to discuss what's going on with Hudson Poole.
Yeah, first up though, as is always, P3. Marc-Olivier Bastien, just let me know when you're ready, and he's going to be in the interview room with us.
We are ready to go. Thank you for holding on for that short moment. Nathan, we can bring him in right now.
Alright, here is P3, our man, Marc-Olivier Bastien. Great race from you overall. Talk us through it.
The race was good. Race pace was good. The quality was good. A bit unlucky turn 1 in the sprint race. I took out, I think, Luke. At the same time, I had some people diving my inside, so I tried to open the wheel, and I took out Luke. I think I have to check it back, but after that, the race pace was good. Sprint race and in the actual race. So I'm happy with the P3.
Marc-Olivier, the beginning of the season, held 2 full qualifyings in the first 2 rounds, and now a sprint race. Are you eager to get back into the general proper motion of what we're used to, of just getting short qualies and full races, given that the first 3 races were maybe very demanding to begin the season?
I like everything, honestly. I don't mind. So of course, short quality and 50% is short in time, so I'll take that in my finals this week and next week.
Oh, good luck for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so right now we're seeing very strong pairing with Alfa Romeo. I mean, your teammate had a bit of a tough race today, but do you think you and your teammate can challenge for maybe even the constructor title going into the final races of this season?
Yes, of course, we will. I know Philemon very well. I'm racing against him in other leagues, and he's usually way better than me. So we're yet to see the best of him.
All right, thank
Alright,
you
well,
very much for your time, Marc Olivier. We're gonna go hop on for our P2 interview. Nathan, I don't know if you poked Duncan McCamick as well, but I'm gonna try to poke him as well to get him in the for a very final interview. Marc Olivier, thank you again for your time. Félicitations again for your podium, and we'll see you probably for another podium because I don't think that'll be your last one this season.
I hope so.
Good
Thank you,
luck.
guys.
Yeah, so I don't think Duncan McCamick will be joining us. He is typing right now, but he did ask Hudson Pool to make a statement. Has not been said anything so far. Right now, it's just, that's big news, right? Because it's the championship winner for the past 3 seasons, I think, and for him to be leaving right now, I know there has to be a good cost to it. We'll wait on Duncan McCamick, but first we'll get Eric Cavallo in here. He got 2nd place. So, welcome, P2, Eric Cavallo. Welcome to the booth. How's your race?
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I didn't make the strategy I was feeling to, because my game glitched. I could not change tires, so I had to start on medium tires. I don't know if that was good or not. I will be starting on hards if I could change. I had almost exactly same pace as Quinton. On the hard stints, Quinton was struggling a lot with grip, and I overtake him and could gap something to him, but by the end of the stint I was struggling to no grip. Overall, I think it was a good race, good points. I saw that something happened to Hudson, so we can ungap some points from him to him. So was good by the end. I think up P2 is always a good result. I think Cody was unbeatable today. He was very fast on both hard tires and medium tires. So that's it. I will get it.
All right,
Well, that's
thank you
all I
for
got.
the information, Era. Now you've shown the promising pace in Coda. Is this the kind of race you were hoping for to really give that kickstart to your season and hope for a win in the next couple of races coming in?
Yeah, of course. Kota is not one of my best tracks, but is a good track, just not one of the top tier for me. So I don't know. Let's see on the next races. I think I have the pace to win on a track that I am very good at. So let's see. I'm still feeling I can fight for the championship. So we are there. We will fight until the end.
All right, Era, I wanted to have your comment because you're usually you're fighting in the top of the grid here. You've had multiple battles with Hudson Pool, and we've just got notice a couple minutes ago that Hudson Pool is retiring this season. So the past 3 seasons, he's been winning the championship, and that is it for him. He says he'll be back probably this summer in F1 23. Do you have any thoughts and comments about your time battling Hudson Pool on track and about this situation?
I really don't know what happened with Hudson. I saw that he did a mistake. I could open a gap for him. I think his tires just died because he stopped it too soon, I guess. Because Cody was gapping me more and more, and Hudson could not overtake me and could not even keep the pace. I think his tires were done by that time. So I don't know what happened that he retired, and I really don't know.
You went fast. Oh,
Hello, Marcel.
Yeah, that was, I think you just clicked the wrong channel. All right, so thank you for your time and your information, Era. So we'll see you possibly in another podium, and thank you for the race again. And congratulations, obviously, for your P2 finish.
Thank you guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, Nathan, before we go to Cody, who is available for our interview. So no further words on Red Bull, neither from
Duncan or from Hudson Pool. But just a reminder to our viewers, actually 2 major changes has happened. So to begin with, and I'm just trying to figure out where this statement officially is here. So Sweeney or Chad Swindle will be the replacement driver of Hudson Pool. So that'll be a brand new driver. I have not seen him on track, and nor am I very aware of his pace. Are you aware of what kind of pace this guy could bring to Red Bull, Nathan?
We have seen his pace actually in Bahrain. He was the driver that took a podium on his debut.
Oh, right.
Very good driver here. So I think we might be in for some fun.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, thank you. I'm getting old, obviously, Nathan. Yes, so I believe under the name Sweeney G, but officially in D1 we're going to see Chad Swindle, and so he's going to be replacing Hudson Pool. And until we get an official name, there's another replacement further down the grid in Alpine. And I believe Ethan Patel's going to have a little message, and OG in Alpine as well. So I just wanted to see if these guys are going to be able to talk to us in a little bit. But there is a replacement for Major Castleman, who has been in and out lately in Division 1, and so this time he is out, and he's going to be replaced by Retrograde. I believe we've seen Retrograde race last year. Now he's going to be taking the full-time seat. We'll have an official full name for him in Division 1 by next week. So Nathan, I'm going to bring in Cody Lawrence. I'll let you do the interview with Cody. I'm going to try to get OG and Ethan to be available for us in the waiting room in the next couple minutes.
All right.
And so our race finisher and another Grand Slam, Cody Lawrence.
Hello there. Well, yeah, if you guys feel free, how can I answer?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, just an amazing race from you. I mean, your pace when you were on the medium tires, it was just some of the best pace I've seen in this league so far. 1 second a lap when you got out of the pits, and from there it was just smooth sailing. I mean, talk us through it. Were you thinking that you had the win the entire time, or what was the thought process there?
Well, I alluded to this in the Discord, but my head is spinning right now because, like I said, I had to break into a car at my house, so my head's I'm a little disconnected from things going on here, so apologies if I start rambling a bit, but that felt good. That felt good. There was things I could do better there, but for my second race on this wheel, I just got myself old CSL Elite from Hector, so thanks to Hector. This reason I'm racing right now is because he gave me the wheel. There was so much more to come, man. That was trying to unlock. I'm just unlocking bit by bit as we go. For a third day on this wheel, it's looking good. It's genuinely looking promising. I'm excited for the rest of the season now because that was promising. Yeah, the pace was good. I felt really well connected. There's, like I said, there's things I could do better. And Quentin and Era had a good first stint on the mediums, but things were feeling good. Feelings are feeling the best they have in a while, and it's looking promising. I don't know if I fully answer you guys' question, but
yeah, well, most definitely. We saw the pace, and I mean, once you got on those medium tires, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you activated the Ferrari cheat codes in that carb or something for that engine. You were absolutely flying. Cody, when early race, and even during the sprint race, right? The first time overtaking Quentin Caden happened during the sprint race. Down in the feature race, it was all a game of strategies, right? Between hard tires and medium tires. Walk us through your mindset and how you were trying to battle it out, since it wasn't purely on racing pace, but especially during strategies where your win basically paid out.
Well, full credit to Gore, our engineer for us for D1 and Mercedes. Thank you to Gore for calling me right through that. Gave us the info me and Hector needed. We had both had good races in the 50%, which is always the target. But Quentin was a little bit better in the sprint. I was trying to get him quite a bit there, kind of going back to what you're previously saying. But on the strategy, once we had that gap to Hudson, it was I had the cards in my hand. I figured if they didn't pull out to a 6-7 second lead, Quentin and Era, I figured I'd still have a chance at it. And I knew hard medium was good. The medium was going to be a good second stint tire. So, yeah, I mean, full credit to Gore, gave us the info I needed, and credit to him on that. And pace was good, and everything was quite solid. of two worlds right now. I'll say that. So if I sound kind of aloof, apologies. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to explain it. Truth be told.
Yeah, alright, so I'm sure you've heard, but we have some big news in terms of Red Bull and Hudson Poole. Hudson Poole will not be racing for the rest of the season, and he was kind of your main competitor here. He was the one right behind you in the points, and now, after this result, after you retired from this race in particular, you've got very, very clear roads ahead of you. And from here, do you think you're just going to take it with a calm head, or do you think that you actually have some competition here now?
Oh, I mean, it's a shame for Hector. I know he's had issues with wheel before, and I guess with this game, it's just kind of finally hit the breaking point for him. That's a shame, because it's always good when you have strong drivers in the league. And I mean, man, I want to compete against the fastest people I can get in front of me here. Can't race in Europe anymore, realistically. That's where I would probably try to get that, but this has got to be one of probably the strongest North American F1 league I've seen in a long time. So that's a shame for Hudson to not be racing. Chad is no slouch though. He's got the capacity to go out and win a few of these races. So
Well, that
It's
was
not
the
over
upcoming
by any
question, right, Cody? This is what I was asking Nathan and trying to get a little bit of insight. We've seen officially Chad Swindle not race in Bahrain and have great results there, and I hear you've possibly seen him race a couple more times than I have. What kind of driver should we be expecting for the next race in that Red Bull seat? It's obviously not going to be Hudson Poole, but what is Chad Swindle going to bring to Red Bull? And next race, by the way, is Netherlands.
Emborg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to that. Enjoy the old school laps. But with Chad there, like, I know he's a strong qualifier. He had very strong race pace in Bahrain. I think one or two things go his way in Bahrain, and you have the reserve win, and you have Chad winning that. So he's overall very strong driver. We're gonna. It's a shame we can't both have Hudson and Chad racing. Wish they could both be racing, but you know it's not gonna miss much of a beat. I would say, if any, he's strong. He'll be up there. So don't count him out by any means. I saw a few other driver moves as well there too. I think Retrograde joined Alpine. He's also quite strong. You're gonna see him running in the top 8. He's gonna be solid. He could run even better than that. I don't doubt that. So grid's getting a little stronger. It's a shame from how it's happening, but it's gonna be competitive. That's for damn sure.
And now, final question before we let you go. But if I am putting you in a tight spot, let me know and we'll drop the question. But I've got to ask you, Cody, because I mean you've got ears. You're like a fly on the wall, right? You know a little bit of everything going on here. Do we have any insight on what is going on with Hudson and why are we seeing actually him and Major Castleman leaving so early in the season?
I think for Hudson, it's just a combination of the wheel issues, and he's got time. If he comes back for next game, he'll be just as strong. Him having a little break, it ain't gonna hurt too much. So it could just be personal preference. For Major, I don't know. Maybe it's just motivation to race here doesn't exist. I don't know for true. I don't want to be the amateur psychiatrist. That's for sure. Only they know what they truly think. But I mean, it's a shame both of them not be able to drive. That is a shame because I know they're both good drivers.
Absolutely. So. And if there is somebody that knows that, you know, could take a break from racing and come back as strong as ever, it's you.
Yeah. Well, it's been good for me. I mean, still I wonder that if I've taken enough time, but today was a good reason for I can still do this, because sometimes when I have that break, I wonder, can I still do this? Can I still compete at a high level? There was moments today where I sort of struggled, but overall that was quite reassuring. A little bit more work needs to be done in quality. Good job on Quentin on pole, but I can still do this. He can do it too.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, Cody. Nathan, did you have any final questions for Cody?
No, sir.
All right, Cody, congratulations again on a great quality race in Coda. That race did not disappoint. It was one to put in the history books for sure here in ZRL. Thank you for your time, your comments, and your interviews. I'll let you go get back to your things on your end and celebrate that win. And I'll bid you good night, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well, best is yet to come. That's what I'll say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a long season, and it's going to be great.
Have a good night, boys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cody. Okay, well, Nathan, next week we're in Zandvoort. We're gonna be looking at a lot more of a classic track with bank curves and maybe less overtaking opportunities. What are your expectations for next week's race?
Well, I mean, I don't really know if it's tied to Red Bull directly. Of course, in real life, we have Max Verstappen, who's a Red Bull driver, and, you know, a lot of fans for Red Bull there. I wonder if that's going to carry over at all, like if Red Bull will have just a bit of a more home advantage kind of feeling there. But I'm looking to see strong results from them, especially with the new driver, Swinny G, of course, Chad Swindell. I think he can challenge Cody Lawrence, honestly, so it'll be exciting to see what those two drivers can do. I mean, Zandvoort, it's a track where not a lot of battling is done, but if they can make any on-track action happen, I'd be glad to see it. But hopefully in the other divisions we just have lots of clean racing. You know, Zandvoort is a track where anything can happen, as is any other track, of course, but, you know, hopefully just good, clean action and maybe some championship deciding maneuvers here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the results officially, it'll be Cody Lawrence, P1 in the Drivers' Championship, followed by Quentin K, and then Marc-Olivier Bastien. To be confirmed, post-race penalties could apply here. There was a sprint plus the actual race, but I believe that's what we're going to be looking for at top 3. And so Cody Lawrence, with that win of that second place in the sprint, will have gathered his points up to, I'm almost 100 points there. And so Sweeney G in the Red Bull, who's going to have to try to climb up on the driver championships and also keep Red Bull on top in regards to the Constructors Championship, is going to have a lot on his plate for the next 9 rounds to go. Or the next 8 rounds to go, I should say. So that'll be really interesting to look at for next week. And so that is not the end of this season. We only did round 3. I feel like there's so much has happened in the past 3 races, and a lot is going to happen over the next races. That is the beauty of ZRL, right? Across all the divisions, there's storylines all over the place, and our broadcasters capture these moments here for you guys on the channel. Nathan, thank you again for your comments and your insight throughout the entirety of the race. Sorry about that. And I will bid adieu to everybody listening to us. Farewell, have a good night. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, because there's a lot more racing to go, and this is only the beginning. Good night, everybody.